Cool. So guys, today's question is basically tag management system. Okay. This problem has been asked multiple times. Okay. Repeating again. So today's question is tag management system. This has been asked multiple times in Atlassian. Okay. Recently, that's what I get to see, get to hear from a lot of people, right? I mean, my students or my colleagues or my ex-colleagues, right? So tags tag management system, right? What does this really mean, right? So Atlassian has a product called Jira, okay, and what you can really do is while you're creating the Confluence, I mean Confluence is another one. While you're creating a Confluence document, right, you can add tags to it. Let's say the hashtags, basically. Let's say hashtag of system design, okay, or hashtag of, let's say, finance, okay, or any team related or whatever, right? So there can be one Confluence document and there can be multiple hashtags, right? The way that you do on, let's say, Instagram or Facebook, right? So let's say you're creating one post and then there are multiple hashtags to it. Okay. So what we really want to do is we want to do all sorts of CRUD operations, right? And we also want to see the popular tags, right? What are the popular tags in a duration of last 7 days or so, right? So that's the question, right? If you really want to see that, I saw this question here. Okay. So tag management system, I'll read this out for you all, right? Design a cross product tagging service that lets user to add, remove, and update all tags across products, right? Example, Jira or Confluence or Bitbucket, another product of Atlassian. The system should provide APIs to list content by tag, compute popular tags, and present dashboard with aggregated metrics, right? Key challenges are multi-tenant data modeling, right? Permission checks, high read throughput for tag lookup, okay, and event consistency for analytics and caching hot tags, right? So this question has been repeated multiple times. So this is what we are kind of targeting today. Okay. So in general, I'm calling this as a tag management system, as the heading says, right? And yeah. So what I would do is I'll probably come to the functional requirements. Okay. Requirements. So one of the functional requirement would be to create, right, or update or retrieve. I mean, you kind of can say retrieve and or delete tags. Okay, on the content. Okay. So the entire CRUD operation should be visible. Okay. Now what happens is, see, I mean, tags in themselves really do not have its own value, right? But they will always be uh, kind of attached to some kind of a content, right? Let's say the Confluence. Confluence is what? Confluence is kind of a document where you can actually assign these tags. So what you really want to do is when you're kind of creating a document, right? So along with it, you can specify the tags, right? At that point of time, that tag would be created or updated and all of that, right? And if you want to, let's say, deleting a content, then at that point of time, whatever the tags are there in that content, that would also be deleted. Okay. And retrieving the tags, let's say you search for a tag, let's say system design. Okay. So when you retrieve that tag, right, you should be able to get all the content IDs associated with it. Okay. So this is the first functional requirement, right? The second is, like, let's say, which is the same thing, right? I mean, let's say if you're clicking a tag, right? If you're clicking a tag, right, you want to retrieve all the associated um, content. content associated Confluence documents. Okay. Then we want what? We want to see what is the top K popular tags over the over 1 week. Okay. I think that was the, is it top K? So basically they're not saying top key here, read throughput, consistency, key matrices. Yeah, the system should provide APIs to list content. This is the second point that we wrote, right? Compute popular tags, okay, and present a dashboard with aggregated metrics. So, I mean, I'm just kind of shortened this, right, and have put here saying that I want to see the top key popular tags over a week. Okay, so in general, I've written this. Okay, anything else that comes to your mind, you can kind of speak up. If I talk about the scale, right? Scale would be, let's say, 100 million daily active users. Okay, so normally, see, these are the, so what will happen is in the interview is that the interviewer may just give you one line as well, right? Or but then you'll have to clarify, ask questions, right? What is that he needs, right? And scale the interviewer can give you, right? Or it may also happen that if he has not given, right, you can also assume a few of the things, right? So it all depends. I mean, it all depends because I somehow when I've taken like mock interviews, I met some good people, right, and they said like you really have to check the tone of the interviewer, right? This is the place where you actually check the tone of the interviewer, right? Is he really helping, or some kind of a weird guy, right? I mean, he is not probably having a good day, right? And is he speaking, is he willing to really help you, right? So I mean, idea is that interviewers are there to help you, right? If he's not speaking up, then you'll have to assume few things, right? And but yeah, get a nod from him saying that are you okay, or you want little more than this, right? 100 million users or whatever. Okay, cool. And then let's say I'll assume.
Hey,
Yeah,
Pratik,
yes, tell me.
should we ask like how many tags should be there? What is the
Yes,
scale of that?
correct. That is also an important point, right? We should. So let's say when I'm saying 100 million users, then we can assume, let's say what, 1 billion or 10 billion tags. Yeah, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Pratik, I think I was reading the question. So I think the multi-tenant model is also mentioned in the question.
Correct, correct, correct.
So
That is also one important thing, right? Okay. Let's say we'll say tags is 1 billion tags. Let's say we say, yeah, yeah. That's a very good point, right? We actually missed that point out. Okay. So we'll have to have a this is a multi-tenant
yeah, and permission based as well.
architecture. Yes, we have to probably architecture. Then this is permission based. Permission based. Okay. If you want this, I'll just send you in the chat. Okay, if you want to read the question. Yeah. So I somehow feel that permission based we still can control somehow, right? So I'll at the moment, in the interest of time and all of that, I will keep this to be out of scope. Okay, but let's see if the time remains. Okay, this is a very good point, right? I would say multi-tenant architecture, right? What is a multi-tenant architecture? I can probably explain here itself, right? Now, what they really are asking is that let's say let's say you are the one who's building this product, right? Okay, now Amazon is also using, let's say, Confluence, right? There is Google also who is using Confluence, and then there is Meta also who's using Confluence, right? So now you are storing the data for all of them, right? Now it has to be a multi-tenant architecture. So multi-tenant architecture in the sense, these are the tenants. So you will be onboarding Google, you will be onboarding Meta, you will be onboarding Amazon, right? So these are your tenants, right? And all of their data would be residing in your system, right? And they should, and their data should not overlap, right? I mean, let's say somebody, let's say there are the engineers of Google have made Confluence documents, right? So they should not be shared, or their data should not overlap with the data of Amazon, right? So when I'm saying I want K popular tags, right? So this I'm looking for what? I'm looking per tenant basis. Okay, because who's using this, right? I mean, at Atlassian, maybe we might be using, right? But this product, right, will be used by the tenant, right? I mean, Amazon would be interested that, okay, how many, because ultimately this entire system you're building for your clients, right? Okay, so now Amazon will be saying, okay, what are the trending topics, right? What are the trending topics for this week, right? They may be interested in. Okay, so let's say there is on what do you call AI. Okay, so then they say, okay, let me click on this AI tag and see what are the documents that are created in the last 1 week. Okay, so this was a very important point. Thank you. Cool. Then we go to non-functional requirements, where we say, let's say we are assuming 100 million users and daily active users, and here we are saying 1 billion tags. Okay. What else? The system should be fault tolerant. What else? If I talk about the cap theorem, right? In as per that, we should be having what? Is it consistency or is it as availability? What?
API, I think.
Huh?
API, I think, like as I can read the question, it's more on AP side.
Yes, availability, right? I mean, I'm okay, right? Because I'm okay to have, let's say there can be, I mean, you really need not have an exact count, right? Okay. So that's what, I mean, the system should be available. Okay. Consistency. Yeah. So it's actually AP out of cap, right? You can only have two things. So it's actually, what do you call, AMP. Okay. And what else? Hmm? I can have what, for when I say get documents, right? When I say get documents, or or let's say when I click on a tag, right? I want to get the associated documents, right? So then the latency should be less, right? I mean, this is a bigger problem, right? So then here I can say that latency somewhere of the order of 200 milliseconds, right? Uh, to fetch all associated documents for a tag. Yeah. So this is what I can think of freezing this. Let me know if you want to add anything here. Are we good? Okay, cool. Yeah. Next. So as we are following, right, what would be our next step would be to have some kind of core entities. Okay, so what are the core entities? Okay, basically here we just talk about some of the entities, some of the tables, some of the flows, right, which will play a crucial role in the entire system design. But we, at this point of time, we really do not know much about them. So what we'll do is we'll just list them out, right, and we can update kind of as and when required. Okay, so one is, there will be anyways tags will be involved, right? there will be what do we call, let's say Jira would be involved, or Jira or Confluence, whatever you say, right? Because there the content is getting created, right? And there will be somewhere, there will be a relationship between these two, right? So I can keep them to be independent, right? Basically I can have tags independently and Jira independently, and I can say, let's say Jira and tag mapping. Okay, what else? Anything that you can think of? I normally write users as well, right? But it won't be users here, but I would like to add tenants here, right? Tenant or tenant ID, right? Somewhere that will be involved. Agree? Yeah.
Pratik, it's a small doubt. Like,
Yeah.
how are we tagging this? Like, is one Jira ticket will have multiple tags, right?
Yes, one
And
Jira is
multiple
correct.
Jira tags
One
will
Jira
have.
will have multiple tags, and one tag can have multiple Jira
Okay.
content IDs.
So many to many, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, how do we compute the top K tag from this entity?
Correct. Okay, now top key is also something which is required. Yeah. Um, See, normally what, right? What I have seen is whenever a top key kind of thing that comes to our mind, right? Be it data structure or anything, right? It's always the heap that comes to our mind, right? So from that we have to fetch, right? But I don't think that from this we would be able to get it, because this I feel is actually mapping to a table, right? And if you try to get the top K from a table, right, that won't be a good idea, right? So you can say that okay, you have an employees table, and if you are saying that okay, I will run a query on those employees and find the top K earning employees, right? I mean, that's not, I mean, you can do that, right? That will give you an answer, but that's not an ideal way of doing it. Okay, you can create index, you can say that, okay, I'll create an index on that column and query, right? But that's not an ideal way, right? And also what will happen is these queries will keep coming, right? So what will happen is every request comes in, right? You will have to do a table scan of the entire data and then return the result, right? So that's not efficient. So for top K, I don't think you'll be able to fetch from here. There will have to be some data structure or some system which can help you to get top K. Yeah,
Yeah, makes
cool. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay. If I talk about the APIs, right? Next is APIs. Guys, one more thing. So I gave few mock interviews, right, recently with few people, right, and I got a feedback saying that I'm kind of being very messy across the board, right. That is also one, and so that's why I'm trying to keep it clean. I mean, if you see our previous sessions that we had, right, I mean, we were throwing everything and then I mean across the entire page, right? So which doesn't become readable, right? I'm trying to keep it clean this time, right? Putting them into boxes, and then once they are finalized, I'm kind of giving them a boundary, saying that okay, this is the section that we discussed, so that in the end, when we have to kind of frame some image, right, for the interviewer, even he is able to get get a good picture of it, or anybody who sees it, right, he'll be able to get a good picture. But we can all try, but let's see what happens. Okay, so when I say about APIs, right, one would be the create one, right? When I say create API, what are we really doing is we are creating the document. So I'll create a post, right? I'll say v1 slash uh, tags, okay, and I can say this will be the body here. So what am I actually saying is that there will be some content ID, okay. So let's say XXX, okay, and then I will have some tags, okay. So this will be some hashtag of tag one, let's say tag one, tag two, tag three, okay, something of this sort, okay, cool. And any issues with this? No? Okay. So basically what are we doing is we created a content document, right? We got a content document ID, right? And then what we did is from that content document ID, we are actually calling this with the tags. Okay. Then what else? Create. So this can be actually create, or let's say you want to update a tag, then update a tag. That would be what? That would be a put here, similar one, but it will be a put, right? Okay. Okay. And what else? Get, right? What am I saying is I'm saying get content for a tag, right? That means that I'm clicking on a tag, right? Our first, second requirement, I guess, second requirement, right? Get content for a tag. So what am I saying is I'm actually passing a tag ID and then I'm getting a content array, right? So this would be like what p1 slash tags slash say tag ID, okay, and this would give us a kind of a JSON, which will be having some nested structure of what the contents. Okay, so this will have some content ID and all of that, and there can be other things as well, the type or whatever, right? That you may want to have. Essentially, what we are kind of expecting is a content ID kind of array. Okay, what else? So we are done with what? Create, update, get, right? And one would be a delete, right? Delete content. So I'm saying that I am deleting a complete document. Let's say I created a document, right? So I'm creating that document, right? Let's say I kind of had created 5 documents and I'm making a call to delete all of those documents, right? So I've created 5 documents. So all the tags associated with each of the documents will have to be deleted, right? So I'll have to call the HTTP delete API delete, and I can say that okay, v1 slash tags, okay, and yes, go ahead, shoot your question, please.
Pratik, I have one question here.
Yes.
So you are talking about the API right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering, like on the UI, when we create a document,
Uh-huh.
we could give a tag which is already there, and we could give a tag which is a new one.
Correct. It will be a create or update.
Okay. Okay.
So the way that you have in Hibernate or anything, right? I mean, if it exists, then that way. So what we really can do is mm,
So should the API have some kind of initial check, or database at database level only directly it can be handled?
no, it will be at the database level only, right?
Okay. Okay.
So I mean, there are operations like create or update at database level also.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I mean, here I somehow feel that when you're creating a document, right? I mean, let's say whatever conference document if you have created, right? So what
Hmm.
happens is, I mean, this in fact should not be like this, right? But we are kind of compromising, right? I mean, because I mean, ideally the ideally
Content ID shouldn't be related to tags.
no. I mean, in fact, along with the content, right? All those tags should also go along with it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Point.
But that's not the goal, right? I mean, I was thinking like somebody would kind of poke me there. But anyways, right? So ideally, like when you're creating, right? When you're creating a document, I mean, tags are not in your mind, right? It's
Hmm.
basically you're creating the content, and along with it, the tags goes in, right? But
Correct.
okay. So for now,
So tags is a separate API which will just focus on the tags, right?
correct. That
So
will be that
how
will
about the content?
correct. That will be a completely different ecosystem, right? Different microservices that
Correct.
would handle it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now, and our focus at the moment is that a tag service and not that Confluence or Jira.
Correct. Got it.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else that anybody wants to add here?
Pratik, just one point I was thinking. So you also included top K tags, right, in the requirement.
Yes. Yes.
So I was thinking if we are like obviously we are not doing it at runtime, we would be having some async process to do something right like that, right? So in that process, if you are including a update API here to update a tag,
Uh,
that will cause a problem there, right?
uh, correct. So when you're updating a tag, right? Okay. So then what happens is you are actually calling the Jira service or the Confluence service, right? Okay. Okay. And at that point of time, this event will have to be consumed. This will affect.
Okay, sorry if I am misunderstanding this. So this is updation of the tag itself or updation of tags of a content.
Updation of the tags of a content. So let's say
Okay,
I wrote
okay,
a
then it's fine. Yeah.
let's
Okay.
say wrote a document, right? And I or let's say sometimes what happens is when you create a post, right, or a reel on Instagram, right? What happens? Let's say you created what is it trending right now? Trump, let's say, right? Okay, Trump, or let's say US, or let's say what AI, correct? Now you created this, but then you said like, this is not going viral, right? Let me remove, let's say US, right? Because this is very generic. US can also mean us, right? So let me also have what uh, viral. Okay.
I understood this, Pratik. So I thought because at the very first we have written CRUD of a tag, right? So I hope we are not updating the tag itself.
No, that's not the intention. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. Okay.
or probably we can reframe this, right? Because there's no point, right? I mean, I won't be changing AI to artificial intelligence because I will only be what do you call thread of the how do I say this?
No, maybe the requirement in a way it could be like it's AI, but at organization level, I don't want to. I want to abbreviate it as AI, artificial intelligence so that everybody can track. Maybe in that sense, but
Would
it's
say,
okay.
let's rephrase this, create this thing, right? Of the document along with tags, along
Okay.
with tags. So, yeah. Okay, yeah. And another fifth API can be a top K, right? Where I'm saying um, get get um, slash K. Okay, and here I may have duration, right, of let's say 1 week or 1 day or 1 day or 1 month, whatever. Okay, and what else? That's it. Or top K, or we can also say K and K is equal to say 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want to say, specify. Okay, so this is will freeze with APIs. Okay, Now we are going to what? We are going to the high level diagram, right? Um, so as part of high level diagram, right, what would really happen is I would have some client. Let me just. Yeah. So let me have a client here. Okay. And then what else? I will have a API gateway. Okay. And then I will have some kind of a Jira service here. Jira or a Confluence service, right? And I will have the what? The tagging service. Okay. And there will be some kind of a data store, right? Okay. Let's say this calls this calls this, and let's say any event that comes in, right? It can also update this, right? So this is what I see, okay, as part of the high level diagram. What are we really achieving here is that as part of the functional requirements, right, I should be able to create, update and delete of these tags, right? So when a user calls this tagging service, he will be basically create, update and all of that, right, to the tagging service, and all of these tags would be somewhere stored in the database. Okay. And let's say if there is any user who kind of calls this, right, uh, calls who calls this API, right, directly the Confluence, right, to delete a document, right, then also an event would be captured, and it can update the database saying that our tags have reduced. Yeah. But yes, this will not scale, right? This is what you have to say. Now, what we are going to do is, now to make this design to be efficient, we'll kind of scale on this, right? So we'll just copy this again, right? And we'll go into the deep dive section. Yeah. Cool. So guys, see, now what happens is, this is our deep dive. Okay. Now, what is the problem here? What is the problem here, right? You are getting the request, right? You're getting multiple requests in the tagging service. Now this service is directly calling the database, right? Now when the load is so much high, right, when the load is like what, 1 billion tags are coming, or 100 million users were coming in a day, right? When 100 million daily active users were coming in a day, right? So what will happen? Your database would be bombarded, right? Like anything, correct? So what is happening? What will happen is, we'll have to protect that. For just one second. Hello. Yeah. Sorry. Um. So yeah. So we can't do that, right? So what we will be doing here is, we will be introducing. Yes. Any questions, guys?
Pratik, one more thing. I think the diagram is not actually correct. So here your user is not user. Here your user is actually Jira or Confluence, and they would be hitting the API gateway for the tagging service, right? Not the tagging
Um,
service which go to the Confluence.
yes, that is also correct. Okay. Yeah, I mean, either actually they will call this only, and from that event will be actually captured by the tagging service.
Or do you think Jira or Confluence are the tenants here and they would be calling our tagging service, isn't it?
No, 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 no. So what is happening here is, I mean, probably we can correct this, right? We can.
It could be possible that during migrations or anything like that, right? Uh, so the
What?
tags could be created manually. It need not be like, what if you are onboarding your docs to Jira?
Onboarding your tags to Jira. No, that's see. This system is there, right? Okay, that is only the DB migration, right? Okay, so then this all these services won't be coming here, right? So basically you are saying that there is some reconciliation that has to happen and all of that, so that will happen at the database level, right? Okay, let's not go there, please. Okay, I
Okay,
just
okay.
But Pratik, I still feel tagging service should be behind, and like it's an altogether different service, right? I mean, tenant should be out of my API gateway. They are supposed to be my users as a tenant users. I still feel tagging service should get a separate service itself.
yes. So tagging service is a separate microservice, no?
नहीं मतलब so how I was thinking was like Jira Confluence will call our API gateway for the tagging service, and we will be doing all this DB fetching, creating, and then we'll give it back to them.
but but these are both these services are actually owned by what do you call your this thing only, let's say.
Tag service.
Yes, the tag service is also part of the Jira or the Confluence only, because I mean, yes,
Okay,
you
I thought it was a standalone service we can sell as a product kind of thing, but okay, fine.
no, but I mean this, see, you're not selling this, just this, but you're selling along with this. Okay, so when I say tenant, right? Tenant are different companies here which you are onboarding.
Correct.
Okay, so we are considering that this is part of the Atlassian altogether.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I mean the request will probably come to the Confluence, right? Or there can be yes, there can be places where you may just call the tagging service also. So I think then the previous diagram was also actually correct only, right? Okay. Sorry. Both ways are possible, I think, but let's keep tagging service in focus at the moment. Okay. So yes, I mean, like let's say when you're creating a document, right? So the user will be coming to this Jira or the Confluence, right? And then it will probably those tags, right, would be stored in the database, right? Now what am I saying is, I'm saying since just to avoid the thundering herd problem, right? Okay, where basically a lot of requests comes in together, and our database is not able to handle that, right? So what we'll do is we'll probably bring in the queue here. Okay, and when we are bringing this queue here, we will have to bring a some kind of a consumer as well, which kind of reads the message, whatever is needed out of that message, and then finally store it. Okay, that's one. Okay, one improvement that we would do here, right? And also another thing is, see, our important thing is that here, right, our ratio, right, our ratio of right to read to write ratio would be somewhere of the order of let's say somewhere 1,000 or 10,000 to 1, right? If one tag is created or anything, right? I mean the read request of that would be coming um, higher, right, compared to the write, right? So what we can really do is we can also split this tagging service into two, which where one of the service takes care of the only writing the tags, and the other piece takes care of only for reading the tags. Okay, so we'll split this as well. and I can call this as, let's say, um, tag read service. Okay, and this can we can call this as a tag write service. Okay, so yeah. Let's say this is right. Okay. Cool. Okay. There will be a consumer involved here, right? They said here that a consumer service will call this. This is our Kafka, let's say. Okay. So let's say your write content or deleted content, right? When you're writing or deleting, right? All those can kind of or let's say when you're all those events, right, from the Confluence will be taken up by this message queue, and then it will come to this consumer service and it will update here, right? Now as part of database, right, some of the tables that would be required here would be, let's say, the tag, right? I can say tables here. Okay. What would be this? Tag ID, right? Tag name. What else? Yeah, created update and all of that would be anyways there, right? And let's say if I call this to be a Jira here, right? Okay, this would be
But do we need to have the page details under this tag table, or we'll be mapping this with another table?
sorry, you're not very clear.
Okay, no. What I was telling, like for this particular tag, we have a tag and tag name, right? So for that, like we'll be having some pages linked to that tag or something.
Correct. So this is only the tag. This is only the tag, right? We can so now that pages or that Confluence, right, is basically this content ID.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the content ID, and now you can have probably for this content, let's say you let's say you are having this content ID, and then you can have, let's say, some kind of a content URL, right? Or let's say some title, and then description, right? Description, right? And other fields like created, updated, and all of that. Okay. And now another one can be a we discussed, right? What? Jira to tag mapping, right? So here basically I would have this tag ID and Jira ID. Okay. So these are the primary keys here. Okay. And these are the foreign keys here, and I would have the index on this, right? You can mark this way. Okay. You can also search for content IDs here on this, but yeah, that will be. I mean, you can create an index later on if whenever required. Yeah. Cool. What else? What else? So are all the CRUD operations will either come via this or this, right? And this is where we will catch the events, right? And they will update into this database, right? And this database has to be some kind of a what do I say? um, because these are all coming as some kind of events, right? Okay, so this can be some kind of a time series DB, right? Let's say, okay. Some are in like InfluxDB is one example of time series, right? Or TSDB, which is called time series DB, right? So these are the DBs that you can kind of store the data, and this is very much in the form of time series entry, right? At this point of time, this information came in, and this is the event, right? Or probably you can also store maybe in DynamoDB, or but yeah, time series looks to me more favorable here, right? Okay.
I think why a time series database? I mean, we don't have any use case, right?
Correct. So basically, see, our use case is to populate, right? The main thing that we really want to do here um, is to basically give the top K, right? Okay. So now what we do is either whenever a tag comes in, right, I search for that tag, right, and update an entry here saying, okay, this is the summation, right? Now my problem here is that, see, if the user says that I want to get the top K tags for a month, right, or for a duration of what, for a day or for a month, right? Then how will we kind of uh, deduce that information from maybe, let's say, use a MySQL or a Postgres? Because
Uh, we
everything is
can think of something else also. I mean, I have something in mind.
Mhm.
So
Right.
what I was thinking was, see, since you said earlier you have 100 million DAU, right?
Mhm.
So obviously writes would be really high,
Yes.
right? And let me just think of like reads would be like 10x maybe, right?
Okay.
10x, 20x, whatever. So reads are also very high. So obviously we did a good thing that we separated out the write path and read path, right?
Mhm.
So write path, I think we should write in a separate DB, and read path we have to write in a separate DB so that we can cater to two things at a different level, like at a different speed, different QPS. Because if I have a same DB for read and write, then it would be a hell lot of problem.
Correct. So
And
I have not connected the read path yet.
correct. So normal DBs would normally work here, but to cater the top things, like
Mhm.
usually how the other systems are also whenever we do the question. So how top K, that has to be pre-recorded. I mean pre-calculated kind of stuff,
Correct.
right? So maybe the write service that anyway we are doing, from this DB we can asyncly stream this data to some through some Kafka and through some other service which will take care of my this queries like top one day, top 1 week, top 1 month. We
Correct.
can
So
cater from there.
correct. What am I really doing is I'm actually just dumping the data here at the moment.
Yeah, but time series, I was thinking, do
So
we
where
really
where
have
do, where do
such?
you want to dump then? Where do you want to dump all of this information? These are coming as an events for me, right?
Right.
Um,
Time series, I mean, this choice of time series, little not convinced. Maybe you can explain a bit more. Maybe I'll understand.
because my what I want to really introduce here is that I want to probably introduce a Spark job somewhere, right? And based on that time, right? I want to pick.
Spark jobs, if you even if you streamline through normal database, let's say
Yeah.
Postgres or maybe Redis, maybe for sake, right? Normal cluster way of Redis, you just trigger the Spark job through Kafka from there, like even through CDC or something. They are good then.
We can, but yeah,
I mean,
times
sure. Please,
can get
you
rid
can
of.
go on.
Say time series is like when we really want to see at that particular moment. I think, yeah, we can probably get rid of this and then use move to, let's say, some kind of
The reason I'm saying this is because my only reason is it's not the job of this database to preserve my like time related queries. It should be job of some other database. Its job is just to maintain the tables that we discussed.
Mm, then see, my only thing is that I would really want to take the entire system to somewhere to to compute the top K. But
Correct.
I really appreciate that. Yes, that what are we using this data for then? What are this data coming in for, right? I mean, we can probably bring in the live stream Flink only, right? To
Hmm.
kind of um, process that and put it into a Redis probably.
Yeah, I mean at
Or
100 million DAU, like this is, I think Redis only can do.
yeah. Mhm. Or let's say we keep this in a MySQL here, right? And let's say we bring in, let's say, Redis here. Okay. We'll bring in Redis here, and we talked about this problem in our previous sessions as well, right? Redis stores in the form of sorted set, right? Okay. So all of these, right? What this consumer service is basically doing is that it is kind of storing in the form of key and value, right? Where basically the keys are the tags, right? And the corresponding is the tag count, right? Now there is a concept of sorted set with Redis where you basically say that I want top K, right? I mean, what top K in the sense, like let's say I want top five, right? Top five items in the from the Redis. Okay, so then I would be able to get it, right? But out of all of this, right, we are missing something very important is the tenant ID somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, tenant ID also problem would be solved in this case because anyway in the Redis, you're in the sorted set, you're going to make the key, right? So
Yes.
key will contain the tenant ID info. So
Then we can
partial search, so anyway we can do.
probably append this with the tenant ID as well.
Yeah, yeah. I was even thinking not only the tenant ID will create the bucket that was given in the requirement, like 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, whatever you said.
That yes,
Will
correct. That is also one of the problem, right?
yeah.
Now, uh, that problem, right? I mean, how will you kind of have it expire in the 7 days? So there is a concept of, right? Let's say what happens is let's say with a sliding window, right? So let's say there are events here, okay? Your window is this, right? And now what happens is your window now moves from this point to this point, right? So what you really want to do is you want to actually remove this part, right? And add this part, right? Okay. So for that, right, um, there should be someone who kind of takes care of takes care of reading the data from the Redis, right? Or from the DB and then updating here.
Not required also, right? I mean, everything can be sorted using keys only here. Like you have your buckets of 1 week, right? I mean, dates would be there.
So now
Uh,
the question is, let's say now how do I let's say if I am asking for 24 hours, okay, for the last 24 hours, as soon as my 1 hour goes away, right? Okay, now what you have stored the count is for 1 day, right? Let's say in Redis, okay, let's say somehow with you design the key in such a way that that you get the count for what this window, correct, which is 1 day,
yeah.
right? Now we are crossed by 1 hour, right? So what has happens is now we have what 25 hours of data where this data of last the oldest 1 hour data is actually irrelevant to us. Now Redis can't compute that. Now Redis
Uh,
can't compute that.
okay. Um,
So then we'll
I
have
mean, see, 1 day. What do you mean by 1 day? Is it 24 hours or is it 24th January?
no when I say both, I mean, in fact, I would say
No,
that
if it is what I was thinking was if it is 24th January, we can have these keys in our Redis because let's say historical things can also be queried, right? So
Okay, so that is okay. So there are two things that we're talking, right? Okay, as part of requirement. So now what I was talking in here is that for the past 24 hours, right? But what you are talking about is 24th is this window and 25th is this window,
right,
right? So when the data comes in, I will only be just updating to that. So yeah, that will be much more easier. Yeah, I mean, if this is the requirement, yes, then probably we can say that's tag tenant ID, and then probably the week number or the date. Let's say we can say 24th, right? 24th Jan or whatever the key comes in, right, by the consumer service, and based on it we can keep appending the count if this is the problem statement. So
correct.
this,
Yeah,
I mean, see, these things are evolving, guys, over the time, right? Hours. We said here for the last what? For the last 1 week, right? But both the cases can happen. Either the last 24 hours. I mean, last 24 hours means from here to the last 24. Yesterday, 10 p.m., right? Or it is today's date. Okay, so I hope you got this. Anybody has any questions here? So to keep things simple, right? Let's say we will keep it 24th Jan, and our interviewer agreed saying that he's okay with this, right? So then what we really have to do is we will have to probably have what, the tag ID. Let's say I say AI, right? This is the Amazon, and this is the date, and then this consumer service just append the count, and this Redis set this Redis set takes care of giving me the data in a sorted manner, in a reverse sorted manner. Yeah, are we good, guys? Yeah. Now, let's say if now when the top K request comes in, right, or any tag request comes in, right? So then what we can do is we can fetch this from the Redis, right? And also Redis can have, let's say, tag related information as well, right? I mean here, what if let's say tag ID is there? Let's say when you click on tag ID, let's say AI, right? So we see, okay, we see this table saying that AI is the tag ID. What is the corresponding Jira ID here? From the Jira ID, you can actually get the content URL or the content ID, whatever you need to, let's say, to render it. Okay. Now, what if this database goes down, right? So that means here, I think MySQL would work for us, right? Correct or not? So we are just storing what? We are just storing these tables here, right? And this Redis set is actually taking care of persisting the data. It is date wise, and we can actually configure the durability as well with the Redis configuration, that how long do you want to keep the data. Okay. You can talk about let's say when what if this DB goes down, right? You can talk about the leadership, the lead election algorithm, let's say Paxos or Raft, right? Saying that let's say if this kind of fails, right, we will have this as a what do you call multi-region this thing nodes, right? So the chances of failure will be less, right? The data will be replicated. Okay. And what in case of failure, um, MySQL itself would be able to take care of what electing the new leader. Anything else that we are missing out? Nice.
So, Pratik, here for read service, as we are going to uh, like uh, like read service is going to take care of the creating tag also, right?
No, read service is only reading it, right? But the write service is basically let's say this service, right? The create one, right? So
Mhm.
somebody called this Jira Confluence service, right? And what happens is we kind of pass on the tags saying that these are the tags that have come to come for this content document, right? So this consumer service, what it does is it actually creates an entry, right? Saying that okay, this was the entry, or in fact, Jira has already created this entry, right? And these are the tags associated with this content ID, right? So persist them.
Okay, no, my point is while creating, suppose I want to create a new tag that is not available. So once user is typing a word or a string, it's supposed to give the suggestion.
Mhm.
And if it is not available, then we are going to create based on the user input. We are going to create a new tag. That is how the Jira currently it is working, right?
No, Jira will only persist it, right? Jira will only persist it, right? It will what it will do is once it has persisted it, right? This service, right, will kind of put an event saying that this is the content ID and these are the tags.
Mhm.
Okay, now consumer service consumes that, and now it has two types of this thing, right? Tables, which is the tag table and then the Jira and the tag mapping table, right? So what it will do is it will say this is the ID and this is the tag name. So let's say if the tag name was already there, right? So then there is really nothing to do there, right? But and also this database is not actually holding the count of it, right? It is this Redis who's actually holding the count of it.
Mhm. Count of tag.
Okay, so all of this calculation and all that stuff, right, is actually is kind of handled here. There's nothing in the database for the last 7 days or the last or the top K this thing.
No,
Uh,
but here I think from tag service directly we are fetching the data from Redis, but Redis will have TTL. So if the after 24 hours or 10 hours or some TTL you have just set for Redis. So after that, if you are fetching the top K, then if the data is not available, then you may not get the correct one, right?
TTL is just a feature, right, that Redis provides. I mean, if you're setting or not setting, that depends on you. Correct. Now, this
Okay.
consumer service, right? Let's say when it is updating the data for 24th Jan, right? I mean, obviously it will. Let's say if you want to just hold the data for last one day, so then those entries would be just the TTL would be set in such a way that you won't be getting the data on 26th.
So the top K will be looking for only that particular date, or will be looking whole tags
So
available
for
we'll
tag
have in our
service,
system.
what we will see it with top case, this is what will happen, right? You can either fetch for 1 week, 1 day, 1 month, or
Ha
whatever,
ha 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 ha. That okay.
right?
Okay. Then,
So now the entries would be little different, right? Now here it would be like let's say tag tenant ID, let's say Amazon, right?
mhm.
Let's say week 52, okay, week 52, and then the tag count here,
Mhm.
right? So now in week 52 also the one of the count will be added, and let's say on today's 24th Jan, so there also one count will be added.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Got it.
Anything else anybody wants to add here? If no, then we'll just stop the recording.